If you found this, it is not by accident. There are no accidents in a universe that is intelligent. There are no random encounters in a field of energy that responds to intention. You are here because something within you, something older than your name, deeper than your history, quieter than your fears, has been calling you back home. Don't look away. There is a moment in every life when the soul whispers, enough. Enough pretending, enough chasing, enough measuring your worth by what the world reflects back to you. That whisper may feel like restlessness. It may feel like anxiety. It may even feel like pain. But what if that discomfort is not punishment? What if it is an invitation? You have been taught to believe you are your accomplishments, your failures, your bank account, your body, your reputation. You have been conditioned to think that the story you tell about your past defines the limits of your future. But that story, that carefully constructed narrative of who you are, is not your essence. It is only the surface. If you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. Not because of the pressure, but because that is what is inside. And when life squeezes you, when relationships strain, when money feels scarce, when rejection stings, what comes out is not caused by the world, it is revealed by it. Anger, resentment, fear, doubt, these are not proof that life is against you. They are indicators of what has been stored within. But here is the truth that changes everything. You are not the contents of that storage, you are the awareness observing it. Close your eyes for a moment and notice the thoughts passing through your mind. Notice how they appear and disappear like clouds drifting across the sky. The sky is not disturbed by the clouds. It does not cling to the dark ones or beg the white ones to stay. It allows, it contains, it remains vast and untouched. You are that sky. Your thoughts are clouds. Your emotions are weather patterns. Your circumstances are passing winds. But you, the true you, are the infinite field in which all of it arises. The ego will resist this understanding. The ego thrives on separation. It whispers, you are what happened to you. You are what they said about you. You are behind. You are not enough. You must compete. You must prove. You must defend. The ego builds its identity on comparison and control. It is terrified of surrender because surrender dissolves its illusion of authority. And yet, surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. Imagine the ocean for a moment. Each wave rises, curls, crashes, and dissolves. If a wave believed it was separate from the ocean, it would live in constant fear of ending. It would compete with other waves for height and recognition. It would panic at the shoreline, believing it was being destroyed. But the wave is not separate. It is the ocean expressing itself, temporarily in form. You are not a fragile wave fighting for survival. You are the ocean expressing itself as a human being. The fear of not being enough is born from the illusion of separateness. When you believe you are cut off from the source that created galaxies, you will try to manufacture worth through achievement. You will seek validation in applause. You will chase love from people who cannot give you what you have not given yourself. But what if you stopped chasing? What if you remembered? You are not here to earn your divinity. You are here to express it. The shift begins the moment you question the voice that says, I am lacking. Who is speaking? Who benefits from that belief? The ego feeds on scarcity. It scans the world for evidence that you are less than. It replays old memories to keep the wound alive. It calls resentment justified and fear realistic. But there are no justified resentments in a universe governed by spiritual law. Resentment is like drinking poison and hoping someone else will suffer. It binds you energetically to the very experience you claim to despise. Every time you replay the betrayal, you renew the contract. Every time you defend your anger, you strengthen the chain. Forgiveness is not for them, it is for your freedom. To forgive is to declare, I refuse to carry this any longer. It is to release the past from its grip on your present awareness. The ego will protest, but they were wrong. Perhaps they were, but your peace is more valuable than your righteousness. When you let go of resentment, you do not condone behavior. You transcend it. Reality begins to shift when you withdraw your attention from what you do not wish to grow. Attention is creative energy. Where your focus goes, your life flows. If you continuously affirm, I am unlucky, I am unworthy, I am stuck, You are issuing a command to the universe. The words I am are sacred. They precede creation. They align you with the field of infinite possibility. Be mindful of what you place after them. Say I am broken, and your mind will gather proof. Say I am whole, and your nervous system will begin to soften. Say I am abundant, and you will start noticing opportunities that were invisible before. This is not fantasy. It is alignment. The world you see is filtered through the beliefs you hold. Imagine wearing tinted glasses your entire life and never realizing it. If the lenses are colored by fear, everything appears threatening. If they are stained by shame, everything feels like judgment. But the glasses are not your eyes, and your beliefs are not your identity. You can choose again. This is the moment. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances improve, now. The present is the only doorway through which transformation enters. The past is memory, the future is imagination. But now this breath is alive with creative power. Breathe in slowly. Feel the air enter your body. That breath is a reminder that life is happening within you, not to you. You are not a victim of existence. You are a participant in its unfolding. When you shift from asking, why is this happening to me, to what is this teaching me, you reclaim your authority. Every challenge becomes a curriculum. Every disappointment becomes direction. Every ending becomes initiation. The soul is not concerned with comfort. It is concerned with expansion. And expansion often feels like dismantling. You may lose relationships that no longer resonate with who you are becoming. You may outgrow environments that once felt safe. You may feel alone for a while. But loneliness is not emptiness. It is space. And space is necessary for new creation. Do not rush to fill it. Sit with yourself, without distraction, without noise, without reaching for a screen to numb the silence. In that stillness, you will begin to sense something profound, a quiet presence that does not judge, does not demand, does not compare. That presence is your true nature. It has been with you through every heartbreak, every success, every identity you have tried on and discarded. It has never been wounded. It has never been diminished. It is whole. You are already enough, not because you have achieved something, not because someone chose you, not because you improved. You are enough because you exist. Existence itself is evidence of divine intention. The same intelligence that orchestrates the movement of planets orchestrates the beating of your heart. Would the universe create something unnecessary? The ego says, prove your worth. The soul says, remember it. As you begin to identify less with the voice of fear and more with the awareness observing it, your reactions soften. You respond instead of react. You listen instead of defend. You give instead of grasp. This is not passivity, it is power. Inner freedom does not mean controlling outer circumstances. It means no longer being controlled by them. When someone criticizes you, you do not collapse because you are not anchored in their opinion. When plans fall apart, you do not unravel because your peace is not dependent on outcomes. You move with life instead of resisting it. Resistance creates suffering. Think of a river flowing toward the ocean. If a branch falls into the water and resists the current, it becomes lodged against rocks, battered and bruised. But if it allows the flow, it travels effortlessly. The current is not your enemy. It is the intelligence guiding you home. Trust it. This does not mean abandoning action. It means acting from alignment rather than anxiety. When your actions arise from fear, they carry tension. When they arise from love, they carry grace. Ask yourself throughout the day, am I choosing from fear or from love? This simple inquiry will recalibrate your entire reality. Love does not mean sentimentality. It means wholeness. It means recognizing yourself in others. It means understanding that what you extend returns. When you judge, you tighten. When you forgive, you expand. When you bless, you align. The energy you emit is the energy you attract. If you walk into a room believing you are unwelcome, your body language will close, your tone will shift, and you will unconsciously create the very rejection you fear. But if you enter anchored in the knowing that you are a divine expression of life, you radiate a frequency that invites connection. This is not manipulation. It is resonance. Reality is not fixed. It is fluid. It responds to consciousness. As you elevate your internal state, your external experiences begin to reorganize. Opportunities appear, synchronicities increase, the right people arrive at the right time. What once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. There will still be challenges. Enlightenment does not exempt you from humanity, but your relationship to difficulty changes. You no longer interpret obstacles as proof of inadequacy. You see them as stepping stones. You stop asking, when will I arrive? And start recognizing that you are already here. This is the shift. The moment you realize that peace is not found in achievement, but in awareness. That abundance is not accumulated, but recognized. That love is not acquired, but expressed. Do not look away from this truth because it dissolves the drama the ego clings to. The ego thrives on struggle. It wants a story of overcoming, of proving, of triumphing against odds. But the soul is not interested in winning. It is interested in awakening. And awakening is gentle. It is the gradual recognition that you are not your fear, that you are not your past, that you are not the voice in your head narrating your inadequacy. You are the silent witness, the vast sky, the endless ocean, the source from which the wave arises and into which it returns. When you live from this awareness, gratitude becomes natural, not forced, not performative, but organic. You begin to see beauty in ordinary moments, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the miracle of breath. You stop postponing joy for some imagined future and begin inhabiting it now. You understand that this moment is not a stepping stone to somewhere else. It is life itself. And so, if you found this, your reality is about to shift because you are ready to release what no longer serves you. You are ready to forgive what once defined you. You are ready to step out of the prison of ego and into the freedom of presence. You are ready to remember who you have always been. Say it quietly within yourself. I am not my fear. I am not my past. I am not my limitations. I am awareness. I am love. I am enough. Feel how those words settle into your body. Feel the subtle expansion in your chest. Feel the loosening of old tension. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of living consciously. Do not look away when old patterns try to reclaim you. Do not look away when discomfort arises. Stay present, stay aware, stay anchored in the knowing that you are more than any temporary form. The wave may rise and fall, but the ocean remains. You remain. And from this place, this deep, unshakable center, you will create a life not driven by fear, but guided by intention, not motivated by lack, but inspired by abundance, not confined by ego, but expanded by love. If you found this, it is because your soul is ready. Ready to shift, ready to awaken, ready to remember. And nothing, no past mistake, no external circumstance, no voice of doubt can stop a soul that has decided to come home. And as you step more deeply into this remembrance, something subtle begins to reorganize within you. It is not dramatic at first. There are no trumpets announcing your awakening. There is simply a quiet recalibration, like a compass needle gently turning toward true north after years of spinning. You begin to notice how often you once sought permission to be yourself, permission to rest, permission to speak, permission to dream beyond what seemed reasonable. And now, in this widening awareness, you realize that the need for permission was never about others. It was about a belief that you were somehow separate from the source of all authority. But what authority could be higher than the intelligence that breathes you? The sun does not ask if it is worthy to rise. The oak tree does not apologize for taking up space in the forest. The stars do not dim themselves to make the night more comfortable. They shine because shining is their nature. And your nature is to express the infinite in form. There is a sacred audacity in living as though you are divinely guided because you are. Yet the ego trembles at that statement. It confuses guidance with arrogance. It mistakes surrender for passivity. It believes that trusting the unseen is foolish. But what has the ego's vigilance truly given you? Has it delivered peace? Has it silenced the restless hunger for more? Or has it kept you scanning the horizon, convinced that fulfillment is somewhere else? The mind that is addicted to elsewhere cannot taste the nourishment of here. It is always negotiating with the present moment. I will be content when, I will relax after, I will love myself if, and in doing so, it postpones the very experience it seeks. There is no arrival point where you suddenly become complete. Completeness is not a destination. It is the recognition that nothing is missing now. When you release the compulsion to become someone else, you encounter a profound stillness. It is not boredom. It is spaciousness. In that space, creativity blossoms. Not the frantic creativity of proving your worth, but the effortless creativity of expression. You begin to act not because you need validation, but because you are inspired. Inspiration literally means in spirit. To be inspired is to allow spirit to move through you without obstruction. And obstruction is born of fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of being misunderstood. Yet those fears dissolve when you no longer define yourself by outcomes. You are not the applause. You are not the criticism. You are the one who witnesses both and remains unchanged. Consider how much of your life has been shaped by invisible agreements, silent contracts you signed in childhood. Agreements that said, I must achieve to be loved, or I must be agreeable to be safe, or I must not outshine others. These agreements were formed by a younger version of you attempting to navigate the world. They were strategies for survival, not declarations of truth. But you are no longer that child. You have the power now to renegotiate every contract that limits your expansion. You can say, gently but firmly, thank you for trying to protect me, but I choose a new belief. And the moment you choose, the architecture of your inner world begins to shift. Beliefs are not facts. They are habits of thought, and habits can be transformed through conscious awareness. When an old narrative arises, I always mess things up, nothing ever works for me, I'm too late, instead of wrestling with it, observe it. Let it pass through your awareness like a breeze through an open window. Do not cling, do not resist. The very act of witnessing loosens its grip. You do not need to fight darkness. You only need to introduce light. Awareness is that light. As your inner illumination strengthens, compassion deepens not only for others, but for yourself. You begin to see your past mistakes not as stains on your identity, but as steps in your unfolding. You recognize that every choice, even the misguided ones, was made from the level of consciousness you had at the time. And now your consciousness is expanding. Expansion requires gentleness. Harsh self-criticism is merely the ego wearing a spiritual mask. True growth feels like warmth. It feels like allowing yourself to evolve without condemnation. It feels like releasing the need to be flawless and embracing the beauty of becoming. You are not here to perform perfection. You are here to embody authenticity. Authenticity is magnetic. It does not chase. It does not manipulate. It simply radiates. When you are aligned with your essence, you no longer need to convince others of your value. You become a living invitation for others to remember theirs. And this is how transformation spreads, not through force, but through presence. There will be moments when the old world tries to reclaim you. Familiar environments may tempt you back into outdated roles. People may expect you to behave as you once did. But you are not obligated to repeat a version of yourself that you have outgrown. Growth sometimes requires disappointing expectations. It is not selfish to honor your evolution. It is courageous. As you embody this courage, you may feel a strange mixture of vulnerability and strength. Vulnerability because you are no longer hiding behind personas. Strength because you no longer need them. This paradox is the hallmark of spiritual maturity, the ability to stand open-hearted in a world that once taught you to armor up. Armor is heavy. It restricts movement. It limits intimacy. When you set it down, you rediscover your natural fluidity. You respond to life with curiosity rather than defense. You listen more deeply. You speak more truthfully. You act more intentionally. Intention is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the silent declaration that shapes your experience. When your intention is rooted in love rather than fear, your actions carry a different vibration. They ripple outward in ways you cannot always see, but can certainly feel. You are constantly transmitting energy. Even in silence, you are communicating. The question is not whether you are influencing the field around you, the question is from what state you are influencing it. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer world reflects that turbulence. If your inner world is anchored in clarity, your outer world begins to mirror that coherence. This is not mystical thinking. It is alignment. The outer is a projection of the inner. So tend to your inner landscape with devotion. Just as a gardener removes weeds and nourishes the soil, you can cultivate thoughts that strengthen your sense of connection. Gratitude is fertile ground. Presence is water. Forgiveness is sunlight. In this environment, peace grows naturally. And peace is not passive. It is profoundly powerful. It allows you to move through conflict without absorbing its hostility. It enables you to stand in disagreement without losing your center. It gives you the capacity to choose responses that uplift rather than escalate. This is how reality shifts, not through grand gestures, but through consistent alignment with your highest understanding. There is a rhythm to this awakening. Some days you will feel expansive and luminous. Other days you may feel contracted and uncertain. Do not mistake temporary contraction for regression. The tide moves in cycles, yet the ocean remains whole. Trust the rhythm. When doubt surfaces, do not banish it. Sit with it. Ask it what it needs. Often doubt is simply a part of you seeking reassurance that it is safe to grow. Offer that reassurance. Whisper inwardly, we are supported, we are guided, we are capable. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you cherish. And as you do, a profound intimacy develops not with another person, but with your own being. You begin to enjoy your own company. Silence becomes nourishing rather than uncomfortable. Solitude becomes sanctuary. From this sanctuary, your choices become clearer. You no longer act out of desperation for approval. You act from resonance. Opportunities that align with your essence feel expansive in your body. Those that do not feel constrictive. Your body becomes an instrument of guidance. Listen to it. Your body is not an obstacle to spirituality. It is a portal. Sensations are messages, tension signals, misalignment, ease signals, congruence. The more present you are, the more fluent you become in this language. And gradually, the need to control every outcome fades. Control is a strategy born of mistrust. When you trust the intelligence animating your life, you participate fully while releasing the obsession with results. You plant seeds with care, but you do not dig them up daily to check their progress. You understand that growth occurs beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Your transformation may not yet be obvious to the outside world, but within you, tectonic plates are shifting. Old fault lines are dissolving, new landscapes are forming, and one day you will look back and realize that the version of you who once felt confined by fear has softened into someone spacious and steady. You will notice that situations which once triggered you now pass through without disturbance. You will recognize that what once felt urgent now feels optional. This is freedom, not the freedom of escaping life, but the freedom of meeting it without resistance. The freedom of choosing your inner state regardless of external circumstances. The freedom of knowing that your essence is untouched by temporary conditions. If you found this message, it is because something within you is ready to live from that freedom, not occasionally, but consistently. You are ready to release the illusion that you are small. You are ready to dissolve the belief that you must struggle to deserve joy. You are ready to embody the truth that your existence is not accidental, but intentional. And as you continue walking this path, remember, awakening is not about becoming extraordinary. It is about recognizing the sacred in the ordinary. It is about seeing divinity in a single breath, in a simple act of kindness, in the quiet decision to think a new thought. Do not look away from the subtle miracles unfolding in your life. They are evidence of your alignment. You are not moving toward your wholeness. You are uncovering it. And with each conscious breath, each forgiving thought, each loving intention, your reality reorganizes itself around the frequency of who you truly are, infinite, connected, and profoundly free. And as this awareness settles deeper into your bones, you begin to sense that life has never been against you. It has always been for you. Even the detours, even the heartbreaks, even the seasons when you felt abandoned by your own hope. They were not punishments, they were preparations. They were the chisels shaping the sculpture of your becoming. You once believed you were navigating a random world, trying to secure fragments of happiness wherever you could find them. But now you feel something different, a subtle orchestration. A quiet intelligence weaving experiences together in ways your rational mind could never fully comprehend. You see how one closed door redirected you toward a path you would not have chosen consciously, yet that path carried the exact lessons your soul required. Nothing was wasted. Every tear watered the soil of compassion within you. Every disappointment strengthened your capacity for discernment. Every ending carved out space for a more authentic beginning. And what you once labeled as loss reveals itself as transformation in disguise. There is a sacred humility in recognizing that you do not have to manage the entire universe. The sun will rise without your supervision. The seasons will change without your control. The tides will move in rhythms older than your worries. And the same force that sustains galaxies sustains you effortlessly. Let that truth soften you. You are not here to carry the weight of existence on your shoulders. You are here to participate in it consciously, to dance with it, to breathe with it, to trust it. When you release the need to dominate the unfolding of your life, you make room for grace. Grace is not something you earn. It is something you allow. And in allowing, you become lighter. The heaviness of constant evaluation, am I doing enough, am I ahead, am I behind, begins to dissolve. You stop measuring your worth against invisible yardsticks. You stop comparing your journey to curated illusions. You begin to honor the sacred timing of your own unfolding. A flower does not compete with the blossom beside it. It opens when it is ready. You too are opening. There will be moments when the old voice returns, attempting to lure you back into contraction. It may whisper of scarcity. It may remind you of former failures. It may tempt you to armor yourself once more. But now, you recognize that voice as a pattern, not a prophecy. You greet it with awareness rather than obedience. You no longer argue with it. You outgrow it. Do not worry. Not because life is predictable, not because the world is always gentle, not because storms will not come, but because God is bigger than fear. And the presence that breathes you into existence at this very moment has never once abandoned its creation. You are not here by accident. You are not moving through a hostile universe. You are not a fragile body trying to survive a cruel world. You are a divine expression of an infinite source, temporarily experiencing the illusion of limitation and fear. Fear is the forgetting of that truth. I want you to imagine the ocean. On the surface, waves rise and fall. Some are calm, some are violent. Some crash against the shore with thunder, others roll in like a whisper. If a wave could think, it might say, I am separate, I am alone. I must compete with the other waves. I must fight against the wind. I must resist the shore. But the wave would be mistaken. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It has never been separate. It cannot be separate. Its very substance is the ocean itself. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. Fear is what happens when the wave forgets it is water. Worry is the mind's attempt to control what the soul already understands. The ego trembles because it believes it is alone. It believes it must predict, manage, defend, and manipulate in order to survive. The ego says, what if I fail? What if I lose? What if I am rejected? What if tomorrow does not go my way? And in those questions, the ego tightens its grip around your heart. But the soul whispers something far more powerful. I am held. I am guided. I am part of something infinite. God is not a distant figure measuring your worth. God is the very energy of life expressing itself as you. The intelligence that moves galaxies is the same intelligence beating your heart. The force that orchestrates seasons is the same force orchestrating your becoming. And if that is true, then what exactly are you afraid of? Fear is always about the future. It is a projection. It is imagination misused. It is creative energy turned against itself. You were given the divine gift of imagination to envision beauty, possibility, and expansion. Yet the ego hijacks this sacred tool and paints pictures of disaster. It rehearses loss. It predicts rejection. It magnifies uncertainty. And then it asks you to bow before its illusions. But I tell you now, do not worship what has not happened. You are not required to kneel before imagined tragedies. In this very moment, are you breathing? In this very moment, is your heart beating? In this very moment, are you supported by the ground beneath you and the air around you? Then in this moment, you are safe, and life is only ever happening now. The ego lives in what if. The soul lives in what is. What is right now is life flowing through you. What is right now is awareness, listening to these words. What is right now is a presence so vast and loving that it has carried you through every single challenge you have ever faced. Think about that. Every fear you once had about the past, you survived it. Every sleepless night of worry, you moved beyond it. Every uncertainty that once consumed your thoughts, it passed. Something greater than your fear carried you then. That same presence carries you now. The sky does not resist the clouds. It allows them. The clouds may darken, they may storm, they may rumble with intensity, but the sky remains untouched. The sky is not harmed by the storm, and you at your deepest level are not harmed by passing fears. You are the sky, vast and boundless. Fear is only a cloud. When you identify with the cloud, you tremble. When you remember you are the sky, you relax. Worry is the ego's declaration of independence from God. It says, I can handle this better than the infinite. I must control the outcome. I do not trust the flow. But what if the flow is wiser than your plans? What if the detour is protection? What if the delay is preparation? What if what appears to be loss is actually redirection? There is a deeper order moving through your life, an intelligence that sees beyond your limited vantage point. You see a single thread. God sees the entire tapestry. You see the closed door. God sees the corridor leading to a more aligned opening. You see the ending. God sees the transformation. Do not worry does not mean do nothing. It means act from faith rather than fear. It means move forward without the poison of panic. It means trust the inner guidance that arises from stillness, not the frantic voice that screams from anxiety. The ego shouts, the soul whispers. If you are constantly worried, you cannot hear the whisper. Silence is sacred because it reconnects you to source. In silence, you remember that you are not the voice in your head narrating catastrophe. You are the awareness behind the voice. You are the witness, and the witness is never afraid. Say this quietly within yourself. I am not my fear. I am not my worry. I am the presence observing them. Feel the shift that occurs when you say, I am is the name of God expressing as you. Before you add anything after it, before you say, I am anxious, I am scared, I am uncertain, pause. Just remain with I am. In that space, there is no fear. There is only existence. Pure being. And pure being is untouched by imagined futures. The ego thrives on comparison and competition. It worries about status, image, approval. It measures itself against others and trembles at the thought of being less. But the oak tree does not compare itself to the pine. The rose does not envy the lily. Nature expresses itself uniquely without apology. Why should you be any different? You were not sent here to compete for worthiness. You were sent here as an extension of divine creativity. Your path is not a race, it is a revelation. Fear contracts. Love expands. When you are worried, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your world narrows. When you trust, your breath deepens, your shoulders soften, your perception widens. This is not philosophy alone. It is biology aligned with spirituality. Your nervous system responds to your thoughts, and your thoughts can either declare war or announce peace. What would happen if instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong, you began asking, what if everything is unfolding perfectly? What if this challenge is sculpting strength you cannot yet see? What if this uncertainty is dissolving attachments that no longer serve your evolution? What if this very moment is an initiation into deeper faith? God is not intimidated by your circumstances. There is no situation so complex, no diagnosis so severe, no financial challenge so overwhelming, no relationship so strained that the creative intelligence of the universe cannot transform it. But transformation requires trust, and trust requires surrender. Surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. It is the willingness to say, I do not have to control the ocean, I will learn to ride the wave. It is the courage to release the illusion that worry protects you. Worry does not prevent pain, it only steals presence. It robs you of the only place life can be experienced now. Ask yourself gently, what is my worry giving me? Is it bringing clarity? Is it producing solutions? Or is it rehearsing fear? Often, we cling to worry because it gives us a false sense of control. If I worry enough, perhaps I can prevent the worst. But the sun rises without your worry. The seasons change without your anxiety. Your heart beats without your supervision. Life is happening through you, not because of your constant mental interference. Imagine holding an orange in your hand. You squeeze it, orange juice comes out. Why? Because that is what is inside. If fear comes out of you when life squeezes you, it is because fear has been cultivated within. But if faith comes out, if compassion comes out, if calm strength comes out, it is because you have remembered who you are. You cannot control every squeeze, but you can choose what you cultivate within. Fill yourself with trust. Fill yourself with remembrance. Fill yourself with the quiet, knowing that you are connected to something vast. When pressure comes, what spills out will be aligned with that inner knowing. Do not worry about being perfect. Do not worry about having every answer. Do not worry about being approved by everyone around you. The need for external validation is the ego's hunger, and it is never satisfied. The soul seeks only alignment with truth. And truth is this: you are already enough. You are not becoming worthy. You are remembering worthiness. You are not striving to be loved. You are uncovering the love that is your essence. You are not fighting for survival in a random universe. You are awakening within an intelligent, responsive field of energy that mirrors your beliefs. If you believe you are alone, the world feels threatening. If you believe you are supported, the world begins to reflect opportunity. Change your inner declaration and your outer experience shifts. This does not mean you will never encounter difficulty. It means you will encounter it differently. You will meet it with steadiness instead of panic. You will ask, what is this here to teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? You will step out of victimhood and into authorship. There are no justified resentments, because resentment ties you to what you claim to despise. In the same way, chronic worry ties you to the very future you fear. Release the attachment. Release the narrative. Forgive the past. Trust the unfolding. You are not here to shrink in the face of uncertainty. You are here to expand into faith. When fear arises, and it will do not fight it violently, observe it, speak to it, say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I choose trust. In that moment, you shift from being possessed by fear to being conscious of it, and consciousness dissolves illusion. God is bigger than your bank account. God is bigger than a medical report. God is bigger than rejection. God is bigger than global uncertainty. The infinite cannot be threatened by temporary conditions. And because you are an expression of the infinite, your essence cannot be threatened either. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a vast field of light extending beyond what you can see. That light is intelligent, it is loving, it is creative, and it is not separate from you. You are a focal point through which it expresses. Your thoughts either allow that light to flow or block it with doubt. Choose to allow. Say within yourself, I trust the wisdom that created me. I trust the path unfolding before me. I trust that what is meant for me cannot miss me. Feel the resonance of those words. They are not empty affirmations. They are reminders of reality. The caterpillar does not worry about becoming a butterfly. The seed does not panic underground. There is a natural timing, a divine orchestration at work in all of life. Why would you be excluded from that order? You may not see the entire staircase, but you only need the next step. And when you take that step in faith, something remarkable happens. The universe responds. Doors open. Insights arise. Synchronicities appear. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. Fear is contraction into the small self. Faith is expansion into the infinite self. When you choose faith, you are not denying reality. You are choosing a higher interpretation of it. You are declaring that no matter what appears externally, internally, you remain anchored. You remain rooted. You remain aware that you are more than this moment's challenge. One day, you will look back on this season of your life and see how unnecessary much of your worry was. You will see how life carried you, guided you, shaped you, and you will smile gently at the version of yourself that trembled. Why wait until then? Right now, in this breath, you can release the tension. Right now, you can unclench your jaw, soften your shoulders, deepen your inhale. Right now, you can whisper, I am safe in God's embrace. The mind may argue. Let it. The ego may protest. Let it. You are not required to believe every thought you think. Thoughts are clouds. You are the sky. And the sky has never been harmed by passing weather. Do not worry. Not because life is simple, but because you are not navigating it alone. There is a presence within you that knows the way. There is a wisdom beneath your fear that is steady and unwavering. There is a love that holds you even when you forget to hold yourself. God is bigger than fear. And when you remember that, not just intellectually, but viscerally, something shifts. The frantic urgency dissolves. The desperate need to control softens. You begin to move with life rather than against it. Let today be the day you choose trust over torment. Let today be the day you release the addiction to worst-case scenarios. Let today be the day you return to the quiet certainty that you are guided. You are not a fragile accident in a chaotic world. You are a divine being having a human experience. You are the ocean appearing as a wave. You are the sky allowing clouds. You are the light temporarily dancing with shadow. And no shadow has ever extinguished the sun. So breathe, trust, surrender, act with love, release with grace. And whenever fear whispers, answer gently but firmly, God is bigger than this. Then step forward, not as a worried mind, but as awakened presence. And watch how life begins to meet you with the same faith you have chosen to embody. And as you step forward in that awakened presence, something subtle yet profound begins to rearrange itself within you. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself with fireworks or applause. It is a quiet recalibration of your inner compass. You begin to notice that the same situations that once stirred anxiety now invite awareness. The same uncertainties that once felt threatening now feel like open space, space where trust can stretch its wings. Fear once convinced you that uncertainty was danger, but uncertainty is simply the canvas upon which creation paints. If everything were known, predetermined, and guaranteed, there would be no room for faith. And faith is the bridge between the visible and the invisible. It is the soul's way of walking into mystery without trembling. You were not designed to know everything. You were designed to align with the source that knows. There is a profound difference. The ego demands guarantees before it will move. The spirit moves and discovers that the ground appears beneath its feet. When a child learns to walk, it does not calculate every possible fall. It does not consult statistics about balance and gravity. It trusts the impulse within it to rise. And even when it stumbles, it does not interpret the fall as a verdict on its worth. It simply stands again. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to interpret every misstep as a personal flaw. You were conditioned to believe that outcomes determine value. And so worry became your companion, an attempt to avoid falling, to avoid failing, to avoid being seen as less than enough. But what if falling is part of flying? What if every apparent setback is a recalibration of direction? The river does not curse the rock in its path. It does not panic and declare my journey is over. It bends, it flows around, it adapts without losing its destination. And in that flexibility, it discovers new beauty. You are that river. You are not meant to be rigid with fear. You are meant to be fluid with faith. When you cling to worry, your energy contracts around imagined outcomes. When you release it, your energy becomes available for inspiration. An inspiration, that inner spark of divine guidance, can only reach you when there is space. Worry fills the mind with noise. Trust opens it to wisdom. There is an intelligence within you that does not operate through panic. It speaks through intuition. It nudges gently. It feels like a quiet knowing rather than a frantic urgency. The ego's voice feels tight, rushed, pressured. The soul's voice feels calm, spacious, certain without needing to shout. You begin to notice the difference. When a decision arises, pause. Instead of asking, what if this goes wrong, ask, what feels aligned? Alignment is not about external approval. It is about inner resonance. It is about sensing whether your choice expands your heart or constricts it. The body is a messenger. It reveals whether you are moving from fear or from love. Your heart does not beat in anxiety. It beats in rhythm with life. You do not have to micromanage the unfolding of your destiny. You are not the architect of the entire universe. You are a participant in its dance. And the dance does not require you to predict every step. It requires you to be present for the music. And the music is always playing. Even in silence, there is movement. Even in stillness, there is growth. Seeds germinate in darkness. Muscles strengthen in rest. Clarity often emerges after surrender. If you are in a season where nothing seems to be happening, do not interpret it as stagnation. Beneath the surface, roots are forming. Trust the unseen processes of your life. Fear insists that if you cannot see progress, there is none. But so much of transformation is invisible until it is undeniable. A sculptor chisels away stone long before the statue reveals itself. From the outside, it appears as destruction. From the inside, it is refinement. Perhaps what feels like loss in your life is actually chiseling. Perhaps what feels like delay is preparation. Perhaps what feels like isolation is initiation. There is a vast difference between being alone and being aligned. When you align with the divine presence within you, you realize that solitude is not emptiness, it is communion. It is a sacred meeting between your human experience and your eternal essence. And in that communion, worry begins to dissolve because you recognize that you are never navigating this existence unsupported. Every breath is evidence of partnership with something greater. You do not command your lungs to inhale in your sleep. Life breathes you. If life can breathe you without your conscious effort, can it not also guide you beyond your conscious worry? The mind wants control because it fears chaos. But what appears as chaos is often complexity beyond your limited vantage point. Imagine standing inches away from a vast painting. You would see only random strokes, confusing colors, no coherent form. Step back, and an image emerges. Step back further, and beauty reveals itself. Your current circumstances are brushstrokes. You are invited to trust the larger composition. Worry narrows your focus to the single stroke. Faith steps back and remembers the masterpiece. And here's a deeper truth. You are not only in the painting, you are also the artist. The same creative force shaping galaxies is expressing through your intentions, your thoughts, your beliefs. When you align those inner elements with trust instead of fear, you collaborate consciously with that force. Say within yourself, I choose to co-create from love. Feel how different that is from attempting to control from fear. Control is exhausting. Co-creation is energizing. When you attempt to control every outcome, you place yourself in opposition to the flow of life. When you co-create, you ask, how may I serve this moment? What is life asking of me now? And that question opens a doorway to meaning rather than anxiety. Meaning dissolves fear. When you understand that even challenges carry purpose, you stop resisting them so fiercely. Resistance intensifies suffering. Acceptance softens it. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means acknowledging what is present without layering it with panic. You can face a difficulty and remain rooted in inner stillness. You can walk through uncertainty and remain anchored in faith. You can experience grief and still trust in the continuity of the soul. These are not contradictions. They are the hallmarks of spiritual maturity. There is a strength within you that has nothing to do with physical power or external status. It is the strength of alignment. It is the strength of knowing who you are beyond titles, beyond roles, beyond temporary conditions. Who are you without your worries? If you remove the narratives about what might go wrong, what would remain? You would remain pure awareness, pure being, pure presence. And that presence is unthreatened by future scenarios because it exists only now. The present moment is not fragile, it is complete. Everything required for this moment is already here. When tomorrow arrives, it will also bring everything required for it. You do not have to import tomorrow's strength into today. You will receive what you need when you need it. Trust that. The sun does not rise early to prepare for noon. It rises when it is time. You, too, are allowed to move in rhythm rather than in rush. Fear rushes. Love unfolds. As you continue this journey, you may notice that worry attempts to return, whispering old stories. Do not condemn yourself for that. Conditioning does not dissolve overnight, but each time you choose trust instead of tension, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen a new pathway. Transformation is repetition of truth. Return again and again to the awareness that you are held within something infinite. Return again and again to the breath that anchors you in now. Return again and again to the remembrance that God is not a distant rescuer, but an indwelling presence. And from that remembrance, live. Live not as someone bracing for impact, but as someone open to grace. Live not as someone scanning for danger, but as someone attuned to possibility. Live not as someone defined by fear, but as someone awakened to their divine identity. You are not here to survive your life. You are here to experience it as a sacred unfolding. And as you release the habit of worry, you begin to experience something extraordinary, a quiet joy that does not depend on perfect conditions, a serenity that is not shaken by temporary storms, a confidence rooted not in ego, but in connection. This is inner freedom. This is the realization that no matter what appears in your external world, there is a sanctuary within you, untouched by circumstance. Enter that sanctuary often, sit there in stillness, listen, and you will hear a voice that has always been there, steady and unwavering, saying, "You are guided, you are supported, you are loved beyond measure." Let that voice become louder than fear. Let that truth become stronger than doubt. And walk forward not because you have eliminated uncertainty, but because you have embraced trust as your companion. For truly, deeply, eternally, God is bigger than fear.